Nature and healthy living in the Texas Hill Country. And now, Nature Approved.
Including captive pigs.
Hi, welcome to Nature Approved. I'm the host right now, Bruce Deuley. I have a friend with me, David McKelvey. You guys have been seeing David for years. Kim will be in a little later to talk about some other things, like dowsing. But in the short term, I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk a little bit about deformed frogs and maybe some benefits of small farming. But before, since David was nice enough to come in quick and early, I thought we'd talk about one of our favorite birds, and it's exactly the right time of year, and that's purple martins. Dave, aren't they supposed to be here by now?
Oh yeah, they're not in any numbers, but there are enough around that people
The
can
scouts,
say.
don't we call them scouts? Or is that the right word?
Well, it's an acronym.
Yeah, the guys that get here early.
That's right, and who could also be males or females.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought the males all showed up initially.
Nope, I've had gay pairs of martins move in, and they were
Thanks
just,
for that, Dave.
Well, I thought you'd need to know. But at any rate, that's what they do, and there may be two males, and they look like two females, and one of them lays eggs, and then later in the summer they change their plumage and look like full males.
Do they fool each other? I mean, it sounds like it's...
I don't know. I don't hang around those places much.
I was going to say, it's, you need to buy her a beer. No, anyway, what he's saying is the early ones that come in are confused sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the season's not quite in. Now, I had, David, this week, not hundreds, but thousands of honeybees at my place.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
I have winter honeysuckle.
Yeah.
And that is what I've noticed year after year. The very first place my martins feed on these cold nights but warm days, one of the first bugs, that's not a good word, insects, to show up are the bees. And I don't know if people realize that martins maybe even survive on these bees till it gets a little warmer.
The house bee, you know,
the regular honeybee.
Absolutely favorite food of the bird.
And the other one I saw in that, and then we'll go do calls later. The other guy I saw hanging around in that bush was a mockingbird.
Yep.
So the bees are very useful, not just in pollinating, but in feeding our early birds, if you'll pardon the pun. Now, if indeed we're already there, when would we expect to see baby martins?
Baby martins?
When were they going to be popping out so mom and dad's feed them? Another month and a half?
Let's see, June?
Okay, so a couple months. The thing that I wanted to mention to David that he and I talked off the air of, and you are going to be disappointed in this. They did a 7-year study of thousands of martins, thousands, and they did stomach content counts. Not a single martin had a single mosquito in it. They really don't eat. And we're not telling you not to raise martins, folks. We love them. They do lots of good with lots of other pests like moths and things.
And they sound pretty.
And they sound pretty, and they're beautiful birds, and they're very social. But that's not the bird that eats our mosquitoes. We've just been told that so you would buy martin houses, I guess. Okay? The little guy that most of you don't like, David will tell you about this, that little mud swallow that gets under your porch, and then they build this little mud nest, and then they always poo, okay, on your porch, and everybody washes the nest away with the water hose.
Yeah.
That's the guy, if you're going to pick a little, well, incidentally, the martin is the largest of the swallow family. The little mud swallow is one of the smallest, but he does indeed fly where mosquitoes are, right, David?
Which one does?
The little guy.
Yeah, they're always back and forth across
the,
your lawn, just scraping the lawn.
The martin is a high flyer. If you'll notice, he comes in from above, and he's catching the moths and the other bugs that fly at higher altitudes. But mosquitoes don't have any reason at high altitude because there's no blood to suck up there. Look, what a beautiful picture, Dave. Do us a martin sound. Here's what martins sound like, folks. And that is a beautiful picture except for the stand that's on. That is really a magnificent picture of a martin. Now, other birds that David and I can talk about, and of course the martins will be here, but I've noticed, and David and I talked about it today, there's a plethora, I learned that word in the 8th grade.
That's a big
There's
word.
a plethora of cardinals this year. Evidently last year, even though it may have not been good for some birds, I have never seen more cardinals around the house. And where David now lives at Trinity, right, you've got a horde.
A horde is good because
A horde of cardinals. Now, they are basically seed eaters, but they're not when raising babies, right?
Nope, entirely insects, big, soft-bodied insects.
And the reason being, there's not enough, folks, and I'm not trying to make you a omnivore instead of a vegetarian. There's not enough protein in the plants and things they eat to raise their babies fast enough. So during the breeding and raising season, they have to catch protein, and bugs are protein. So ordinarily they eat at your feeder. But if you really want to feed mommy and daddy to feed the babies, you need to give them mealworms and soldier fly larvae or something.
All of that good stuff.
And one other bird that's already
mealworms are good.
Posting, but she's not floating yet. I've got an awful early bunch of mockingbirds. Oh, let's do this first. Show them what a cardinal sounds like. This is a red bird, folks. Cardinals.
Well, they vary a little bit depending on the part of the country.
Let's talk about that first. Wait a minute. Let me stop you. Folks, the bird that's the guy in Georgia, even a blue jay, doesn't have exactly the same accent as the bird in Texas does. Okay, so do us a local cardinal. Yeah, that's from the,
Okay, at any rate, we were trying to hit which particular
Cardinals,
species?
red birds.
They go.
That's it. And only males, or do the girls do a little?
Females sing very well,
Okay.
and if they lose if their pair is broken up, say among the Cooper's hawks or something like that.
Right, somebody eats them.
Yeah, when that happens, the female cardinal will start singing like a male until she goes and gets a male. She will immediately, as soon as they find little bits of their husband laying there, they start singing, and just really
Paint us a picture,
help me,
Dave.
help me, help me.
Yeah. Let's put a little colorful picture that people can really enjoy. Little feathers floating through the air.
Well, they do.
And now in another couple of weeks, okay, what's this? So not even March yet, is it? We're a little early. They're not early. Martins do come in February. But the cardinals and the mockingbirds are, I guess this Indian spring, or whatever we call it, Indian summer, that's the end of the year, has kind of fooled them. Because the birds, I have wrens already. I have a little Carolina wren that's already, listen to this, folks. This is one of the prettiest. This bird is, let me do this big. Perfect sound. What will amaze you, though, is the volume of the bird if you don't see it.
Chirp!
Yeah, it is.
That's a
it's
breeding
got this
male.
giant sound, and you're looking for like a real bird, and it's a little bitty brown bird this big. I don't know where
Remember
they get the water
in
from.
Costa Rica, the ones we found of those the kind of wrens that sing in pairs?
Yes, let me come back to that because I can't remember the name because we've got to break away from commercial.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll do birds that sing to each other with different songs. Back after
Like
this
the
with
cowbird.
more of nature approved. Back after this.
Searching for mouth-watering home cooking? Search no further. Head over to Papa's Barbecue. You'll savor the flavor at Papa's Barbecue in Kerrville. Enjoy all the traditional barbecue dishes, juicy ribs, tantalizing brisket, smoked chicken, as well as Papa's Barbecue tender and flavorful steaks. All smoked and seasoned to perfection. Dine in or carry out at Papa's Barbecue. Papa's Barbecue at the corner of Sidney Baker and Myrta in Kerrville.
River's Edge Gallery, printing and framing with 50 artists represented. Original works and prints, custom framing expertly done with thousands of samples to choose from. Fine art printing on canvas and other papers. Top quality and reasonable, downtown Kerrville.
A child's mind is full of wonder. When you shop at Izzy Bear in downtown Kerrville, you'll enter a world of enchantment, a wonderland of gifts, clothing, and more. Izzy Bear, for your child and the child in you.
Balzer's Northside Automotive is a full-service preventative maintenance and auto repair center that has been performing high-quality, guaranteed automotive repairs in the Kerrville area since 1995. They service and repair all makes, models of domestic and import vehicles using only state-of-the-art equipment. Balzer's Northside Automotive is a family-owned and operated full-service repair and maintenance facility. They only use quality replacement parts, and all the technicians are ASC certified. Balzer's Northside Automotive, 1722 Sidney Baker.
This is Roland Salazar with today's weather. We're predicting a great outlook for Kerrville comedy tonight, February 26th, with comedians Matt Golightly, Johnny Luna, and your host, Clifton Simmons. Tickets, $10 in advance, $15 at the door. Get them early at Santo Coyote Club, 2124 Sidney Baker.
Hey, we're going to finish up with David for just a minute, but he's going to hang in there. Later in the show, we're going to do some more bird calls and I'll ask him some inquisitive questions. But right now, he's going to help me with one other sound, because the next subject we're going to talk to is another update on deformed frogs. And yeah, is this the leopard? These are leopard frogs, folks, you're seeing on the screen, and you'll notice they have various appendages missing. And they metamorphosized to this, and it was a mystery for a long time. The number one thing we've discovered is a persistent chemical in the environment called atrazine. Okay, who wants to ask what atrazine is? Atrazine, thank you. From the peanut gallery. No, Kim's out of the way. Atrazine is a weed killer, an herbicide, and it's the most persistent herbicide in America. And here's why, and this is why these frogs are showing up everywhere. It's used in your weed and feed on your lawn. So at first they thought it was just that atrazine used in large amounts in the industry of agriculture, because that's where we originally were seeing these frogs, was in agriculture, where there were runoff from large agricultural areas. Then all at once they started finding these frogs in, New Jersey. Well, come to find out, the most used herbicide in our lawns is atrazine. And it should not be. First of all, and I got to say this, folks, even the non-organic, natural garden experts that don't even believe that organic's good tell you that weeding and feeding at the same time is not a good idea. You don't weed when you feed, and you don't feed when you weed, because weeds come up at a different time than when you feed. So when you're buying these, and I'll use the word, Scott's and Miracle growing these weed and feeds, it's not a good idea, even if you're a commercial nut, even if you like chemicals. They don't work together. It's not a synergistic thing. You shouldn't be weeding and feeding at the same time. Unfortunately, Scott's Bonus S is the largest used weed and feed in the United States of America. Banned in a few cities like Austin, Texas now, for instance. Can't use it legally, and this is the reason. But we have got to get away from the weed and feed. We've got to get away from the atrazine. Dr. Dan Kirby, I'll give you his name, so if you want to call him, you can, is a vet at the Alamo Heights Veterinary Clinic in Alamo Heights, Texas. And he has been studying, overseeing, not doing the study himself, but keeping up with. He seems to think the number one cause for liver failure and or weakness is in dogs raised in commercial locations, city kind of locations, in backyards, is that they get this atrazine on their feet, and then they lick their feet, and it goes through their skin, and it's extremely harmful on your liver. So not only is it emasculating and ruining our frogs and other reptiles, which are just indicator species, but it is obviously not good for mammals. So in other parts of the world, atrazine is not available. You can't even buy it. Now, there are other problems going on. This is where this study was going. I've overdone the atrazine thing. They're finding out a number of pseudohormones are also bothering the frogs. Among them, but not only, are some that ladies take that go through their bodies. Others are we talked about this the other day, we'll get back to that later in this show, the triclosans, which are antibacterials, also serve to become a pseudoestrogen to the frog. And so there's a number of things. And why are we so worried about frogs? I always get this from the conservative friends of mine. Why do we care about frogs? We care about them because they're indicator species of something going on. If it's doing it to these guys, and why does the frog and the amphibian suffer so much? Because without going into the details, they almost breathe through their skin. So their entire body is exposed to this stuff when they get in it, not just where they might get, their feet or something they eat. Their skin breathes. Yes, that's right. They're the canary in the coal mine's a great thing. Thank you, Kim. They're the water, they're the frog in the pond that is telling you there's something screwed up about this water. Now, where does it come to us? We don't know that yet. We are the guinea pigs after them, because in most other countries, they can't do this yet. They're allowing us to be guinea pigs. So anyway, I won't beat the frog to death. Do a frog. But it's unbelievable.
How about doing 10 species of frogs?
All right, do it. This is it. Well, I love spring peepers. Do it.
Okay.
I like that. Let me tell you what's happened, folks, for good. I like to do good news. We might get finished in 2 minutes. Obama has put out I want to use a recommendation because it's not accepted yet, but it's going to be. That's going to give small farmers a benefit again. Folks, about 20 years ago, until then, a small farmer could raise 10 cows or 100 cows or 1,000 cows and not have to compete with the great big meat processors. But as the meat processors have bought more and more and more of the market, this is a good thing. Yeah, look what's on the screen. It's fine. It makes sense. The poor small farmer has been squeezed out to the point that he either raises his animals for the big grower, the big guy, or he doesn't have a market that's even worth anything. This new bill will limit tax incentives for people that used to go to $750,000, now it's going down to $500,000, which will help. And it's only going to limit, if the other bill goes through that's been put in, $250,000. Now that sounds like a lot even to me on small, but that's still small ranching and farming, folks. But until then, what we've done is we've formed a situation where real estate that we raise cattle on has become an investment for rich people. A lot of the people that own most of the cows that you and I eat don't even know what a cow looks like. They've never been in the field with a cow. All they do is go to a place where they buy a stock or whatever the investment is, and they see that it turns over money for them, and they get the money. They could give a flip about cows or the health of cows or whatever. Now we're going to have to break away for a minute. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about where these cows go and where they don't. And why is it that if this bill comes to fruition, we can now once again have the small farmer making a real living on the animals that he raises for himself without having to go through this Franken-farm situation. So if we want to break away now with Nature Approved, my friend David McKelvey's here. Kim's guiding me from the side today. She's being very shy. But we'll be back after this with more of Nature Approved.
These are the toys of some very happy children, and these toys remind us that children have always held a special place in God's heart. Following the lead of our Heavenly Father, we also value your children, and we strive to love them with the love of the Lord. The Children's Ministry at Trinity Baptist Church invites you to come and worship with us and enjoy the ministries we have for your children.
There are trillions of allergens circulating throughout the average American home. Train Clean Effects is so effective, it removes over 99% of flu and viruses from the air it circulates. Train Clean Effects. Isn't it time you expected more from your system?
When you want the best, call D&D Mechanical for your heating and air conditioning service.
It's hard to stop a train.
Banking in the Hill Country is more of a love thing than a money thing. Bank of the Hills has deep roots here. Our families have been serving the families of Ingram, Kerrville, and Comfort way back before Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or even Billy Jack. We were here then, and we'll be here for you when you need a home mortgage, a business loan, or a good boot shine. Bank the Hills, treating people right in Ingram, Kerrville, Comfort, and Centerpoint. Banking like it used to be.
Hi, I'm Kevin Solberg with Solberg Hearing Center. I'd like to introduce you to Faith Cox, one of my many satisfied patients.
Hi, my name is Faith Cox. I have had a hearing loss since I was born. When we moved to Harper, Texas, my mother took me to see Kevin at Solberg Hearing Center. Now I have new hearing aids. This is my old hearing aid, and this is my new hearing aid. Look at how small it is. It's wonderful, and I can hear so much better. It's so cool. Thanks, Kevin.
Hey, welcome back to more Nature Approved. And I'll just finish up what we were talking about before the break. This bill is proposed, folks, and if you're interested in small farming, small ranching, and the little guy, and by little guy, they say $250,000 is a little guy. If I had $250,000, I wouldn't be here. But you need to let your congressmen and your senators and your state people know that this is important to us. We've lost contact with our food, and this thing can change it. So I don't think a lot of what we do is right, but in this case, this is a right thing to do. So anyway, just keep that and keep that in your mind. We're going to go to gardening now, okay? And I'm going to talk about, I think I'll try to do this for the next few weeks, because last week we did on general herbs, or herbs if you're from England. We're going to do a herb today called rosemary. Okay. Now, first I want to tell you a little story. Does anybody know the story of rosemary? Do you know what color rosemary flowers are? Anybody?
Beautiful blue, aren't they?
Mostly blue.
Bluish white.
And they were supposedly the color of Mary's robe. And there's a great religious story behind rosemary and where the name came from. But more importantly, if you have to have one herb to do with beef and a number of other, you should have rosemary. Number one. Number two, and more importantly, and the reason I brought it in today, because it's sort of not quite to our health news, but close, is they've been looking at this stuff. They've been using it for years. I'm going to get you an actual number here in a minute. First of all, damage, that's what brought this whole thing up, the reason I did it. You're going to have some damage this year. It can only take so much cold weather. And if you had 10 degrees like I did, it's either dead to the ground or it'll be easier to replant it. Now, when you replant it, you can replant your own. About every 2 to 4 years, you should eliminate the rosemary you have and make new anyway, because it gets woodier and woodier and woodier. I don't know if those are words.
Almost like bonsai.
Yeah, this is a great picture of it. And it gets where it's got less usable value to it. But if you'll take one of those wood stems and trim it and put it in vermiculite, and put a little water in there and hold it, it'll make a new plant. And that new plant will be as vital as the original one was. So you can't grow it very well from seeds, but you can grow it very well from cuttings. Okay,
I have to step in here.
Sure.
Because I always kill rosemary. And I have
I'm sorry for her.
I know. What I do is I have it in black pots in my little messy greenhouse area. And I don't know, am I overwatering?
Yes. Rosemary needs two things. Okay. It does need water, but it needs not good, but excellent drainage. It cannot stand wet feet. That's why.
How often to water it?
Well,
let's say we're in a dry spell in the middle of the summer.
Okay.
How often do I water the rosemary?
All right, here's the secret to watering. Okay. When you water very thoroughly. Very thoroughly. I don't care how much water you give it. You can soak it all day one day. You can't overwater. You can overwater frequency for this plant. What you want to do is take your little pinky, show me your pinky, and go to the depth of your...
It's not the finger I usually use, but...
Well, that's the one that we're allowed to use here. If you'll stick your finger in the ground, and when you're not touching any moisture, when your joint hits the ground, the first joint, you need to water thoroughly.
Okay, really?
Real thoroughly. Then you don't water again, if it's 2 weeks. Depends on what the humidity is and everything. Also, you do well, this is one of the plants that does well to be mulched, because it equalizes it. It gets the moisture more even till you get your finger in there.
Okay.
And then when it's dry at that first joint, which is about 3/4 of an inch, that's why I use that little finger, not the biggie. Then it's time to thoroughly water it. They don't really even need fed. You can feed them if you want. They do almost perfectly in almost any soil.
But the secret is good drainage.
Good drainage is so many plants. My olive trees, I actually got my olive trees from Sandy Oaks we talk about. She lost some trees because she had them too damp.
Oh.
Her feet were wet. Right. She watered, and water is supposed to save the plant. But at 10 degrees and 12, now, mine came through unscathed. I have new growth on mine already because my drainage is perfect. Okay. So anyway, rosemary, let me tell you a couple things I want to let you know though. Rub it on your dog, no fleas.
Ah.
They've been putting rosemary on dogs for years.
I wonder if we could get rosemary tea, because it does have
Yes,
oil.
you can. You can douse him in tea.
Oh, and I've got the rosemary extract, which we actually make a disinfectant with that.
Perfect.
Yeah, but if I sprayed it on the dog's coat, it would be okay?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, rub it in. Make it a dilute, whatever you're going to do.
Dilute it for sure.
Yeah, dilute it for sure. It is known to, in case you don't know, to kill bacteria.
Yes.
Okay, that's why you're making that.
Brian, are you listening? Rosemary is known to kill bacteria.
Rosemary tea is red color and should be sprayed or splashed on your dog's skin to repel not just fleas but other insects.
And it also attracts fairies and elves.
Yes. I haven't seen the elves.
That's what they were.
The tea is medicinal. You can go into more of this. And I always question about some of this homeopathic stuff, but they claim the tea is good for your stomach. It settles it. It's good for your intestines.
Rosemary tea.
Rosemary tea is good for you. And so it's going to be our herb of the day.
Yes.
Herb.
Well, they say herb in Europe.
I think I got it backwards.
Yeah.
Herb.
We always say herb, and then in England they say herb.
I think that
like schedule.
Yeah, schedule.
Mm-hmm. I think that that the H is optional.
Oh, okay.
I think it depends on where you are and who you are.
All right. How are we on time? Do we need to go to?
I got 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
All right, we have time to start on preparing your bed.
Yes. Preparing the bed, Roland.
Sheets first. No, this is usually. No, this is the bed you're going to grow your plants in.
Okay, like what up on that upper left thing? What would that be?
I can't see it, but it looks like a built-up bed without a side on it.
Yeah.
With compost, which is fine. You don't have to put signs on, folks.
Yeah.
Everybody does because they think they're containing it. But when you do built-ups here, we need built-ups a lot because our soil is so poor. But you don't have to build it up. You can just mound it and let it drain off the edges. Some people, like my friend Howard Garrett, say it's even better. A couple of things I'm going to do don'ts first.
Yeah, do don'ts.
All right, don't use peat moss. Peat moss is now passé.
Oh.
Let me tell you why you don't use peat moss.
As a mulch?
As anything in your garden. If you'll remember a few years back, folks, unless you had your head in the sand, they found a body of a man 6,000 or 8,000 years old, and his clothes were still on him, and they could actually disassemble this guy, okay, because he didn't rot. He didn't go anywhere. You know why? Because he died in an entire bed of peat moss. Peat moss is sterile. Peat moss doesn't have any good active bacteria in it. Why would you put a sterile medium in your garden? We get back, we'll tell you more do's and don'ts for preparing your garden bed. After this, back with more of Nature Approved.
Was that called by the top?
We are rocking the hills. Classic Rock 94.3 Rev FM. 94.3 FM. Crank it up. Rev it up. Classic Rock 94.3 Rev FM.
The Branding Iron Restaurant in the Wyo Ranch Hotel is the best kept secret in the Hill Country. They have daily breakfast specials, a lunch buffet Monday through Friday, and a brunch on Sunday from 11 to 2. Don't forget the Elm Waterhole Saloon, a perfect place to wet your whistle with a happy hour Monday through Friday from 4 to 7 p.m. with large screen TV and a live band every Friday. Now the secret's out. Check out the Branding Iron Restaurant and the Elm Waterhole Saloon inside the Wyo Ranch Resort Hotel.
You know, our cars get bent out of shape from time to time. That's why BC Collision is here. We take pride in fixing anything from a dent to a full body repair. Our professional staff is the one insurance companies trust, and we believe you will too. We'll keep you informed with phone calls. And we'll even wash your vehicle when we're done. We're BC Collision. Don't worry, we'll fix it.
Enter into Trinity Mission of Comfort, a warm, loving atmosphere. I'm Lisa Green Gonzalez, and I'd like for you to join the staff and I here at Trinity Mission of Comfort. With Trinity Mission's amenities, recreational programs, widescreen theater setting. Enjoy a soothing bath at the spa, transition back to independent living, and dining with a choice of menu items. Life should be worth living. Be a part of Trinity Mission of Comfort.
Okay, we were saying things not to do in your prepared garden. Number one is peat moss. If you want something that's really light and airy and will serve to keep your tilth up in your soil, then go get coconut coir.
I was just thinking about coconut. Is that right?
C-O-I-R. It is live. It's bacterially alive.
Is it part of the shell?
It is the shell that's been shredded.
That hairy part?
Yeah. Oh, it's actually the inside of it that's been shredded.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but it's bacterially alive, number one. Number two, we have a plethora of it worldwide we don't know what to do with.
Plethora is the word of the day.
Word of the day. Look that up, folks.
Because
we're running out of peat moss. Peat moss takes millions of years or thousands of years to make, and they're mining it to the point that we're running out. Right now we're buying Canadian peat moss, and they're ruining thousands of acres of forest to get it, whereas there's third worlds, including Mexico, sitting around with mountains of coconuts and nothing to do with them. So, and they're a much better medium than the peat moss. So I don't even use peat moss now in my, oh, you'll love this, in my composting toilets. See, I have...
Oh, I didn't look lately.
Yeah, well, take a look next time you stand up. But I used to use peat moss. I now use coconut coir, and it works every bit as well. So no coconut coir. Did they cut that out?
No.
One of the things I don't recommend that you till, but maybe the first time.
Uh-huh.
But when you do till, don't till wet soil. First, you can't. It really is tough.
Secondly, it tastes bad.
And it won't break up. Yes, it's terrible to do. So if your soil's wet, wait till it's medium, maybe a little dampness in it. You know, we don't want it dusty. But and then of course my idea of this is once you get this bed built up, if you don't walk on it, you've never got to till it again. Now what do you do?
Good to know.
Okay.
Okay, what do we do?
What do you do? First, get a good composted, preferably in my world, a manure-based compost. All right. Don't remove the soil that's yours. You don't have to take your soil away. Okay. Just leave it there and mix the top 2 or 3 inches in with your compost. I want you to add, and I'm going to try to give you some amounts here. See if I wrote them down. All right, raise the beds we talked about. Here's amendments that I think ought to be there. Okay. Compost first. There's a choice here. Either add dry molasses, or wait and use liquid molasses at the end, okay? And you use them at the end after you're going to put in some organic fertilizer, 2 pounds per 100 square feet, or 20 pounds a 1,000, any good organics. You can use Maestro Grow, you can use Gardenville 722, Ladybug, but a good natural organic fertilizer, okay? Zeolite, or another product that'll hold water, shale, or zeolite would be my 2 choices. That again is 10 pounds a 100. That's a lot. For one time, they only do this once. I always personally add lava sand and green sand. Both I'm using at about 4 pounds per 100 or 40 pounds per 1,000 square feet. 10 by 10 is 100. That's why I keep doing it both ways, because most of us do little gardens. It's easy to remember 4 pounds for a 10 by 10. Okay? And the one thing that they don't recommend that I'm recommending here is cornmeal, one time at least.
I was looking at that online today.
Whole ground yellow cornmeal has a thing called trichoderma fungus in it.
Right.
And what it is a good fungus. It out-funguses the bad fungus. There's probably a more sophisticated way to say that. But it out-competes a number of funguses that are bad on your plants.
Oh, cool.
Now this is the one time you get this all together, and this is when I will want you or allow you to till. Stir this up and homogenize it all. You got yourself a garden, okay?
Cool.
Moisten it really good when you're going to plant. I bare root my plants. How much time we got, Brian? Do we? This is perfect.
Okay.
I've got a new concept, totally new concept. No, it's I used to just take them out of the pots soak them, stick them in the ground. No. Take your plants out if they're in a pot, soak them for 30 or 40 minutes till the soil moves away.
Oh, really?
And then spread the roots out. All those roots, you're going to have to trim them or do something with them or they're going to choke each other. So when you get it soaked and those roots are hydrated, you can spread them. You can plant it much more shallow. Shallow is always better than deep. And you can spread them all out and give them their place to live.
So you don't need that dirt that they grew in?
You don't want it. No.
It's probably not good dirt anyway.
No, you want to throw it in the hole, you can. But you want, the important thing is getting those roots spread out. Okay. And we'll do this next week. We'll continue with this as you plant your bed. First get the bed prepared, and then we'll finish on how to tell you how do we indeed plant once we've got our bed ready for us. Nature Approved. We'll be back after this. I think we've got a little video we're going to show. What is that, Kim?
We're going to talk about dowsing and an upcoming workshop in Austin all about dowsing, but not the kind of dowsing that you think. David, you want to take us out with a Blue Jay? We need to get him some water, but that was excellent. Cool. We'll be right back.
Santo Coyote Restaurant caters every occasion. Full-service catering on location and in our private dining and banquet rooms. Catering for meetings, reunions, and holiday events.
It's my heart comes out with the care needs.
One more time.
Jeez.
Just so I have
God, that was great. For all your care needs, please come to Santo Coyote. We're right here to serve you. Thank you very much, and I hope we'll see you soon.
The Family Sports Center is dedicated to changing people's lives. Family Sports Center is a quality wellness workout facility serving all ages and fitness levels, providing fun, energetic program with an attentive and knowledgeable staff. Family Sports Center has been serving the community for over 50 years with a wide variety of group exercises, both aquatic and aerobic, racquetball, weights, cardiovascular equipment, and educational seminars. Family Sports Center can put you on the road to a healthier you.
I'm here in the sanctuary at Trinity Baptist Church. Each Sunday, our congregation gathers here to worship our Lord in this very room. Our pastor brings an inspiring message, and our choir and praise team bring God's word to us through song. We do our very best to praise God, but our best would be even better if you were to join us. We invite you to Trinity Baptist Church at 800 Jackson Road for our 8:30 or 11 a.m. worship services. We hope to see you here.
Crickets, serving downtown Kerrville with 25 years of excellence. A unique specialty shop with peerless name brand merchandise like Vera Bradley, Caspari, Willow-Tree, voted best gift shop in Kerrville. Crickets, an enlightening shopping experience.
Hill Country Living, a store full of gorgeous home accents. All your favorite name brands like Wedgwood, Lennox, Spode, Avia Tree, best store for 3 years. Beautiful Pardine jewelry, bridal registry. See us on Facebook.
Hey, welcome back to Nature Approved. But before I get to run my mouth anymore, Kim has a video that she shot of, that we want you to get to know about. We're going to run it. What is this about, Kim?
Okay, I did shoot the video, but what I wanted to tell y'all about is one of my favorite, well, I guess he is my only dowsing teacher, Raymond Grace. Raymond was on here a couple years ago because he was doing a workshop in Bernie on advanced dowsing, healing, and self-empowerment with dowsing. So he's teaching dowsing not in the sense that we know dowsing, like looking for water veins, you know, for digging wells and things like that. But he actually uses advanced dowsing and healing, advanced dowsing for healing and self-empowerment. He has a workshop coming up in Austin in March 19th and 20th. So I just put together a little clip so you could see Raymond talking about dowsing and the way he's using it. So, Roland, have we got that queued up?
Roll it, Roland.
Roll it, Roland.
A lot of people, and I know this because I work with them, were taught when they were children that they were dumb, they were ugly, nobody would ever want them, they would never succeed, and as a result, their life has been a miserable failure. Whereas they could have been taught something positive and totally turned it around, but they didn't know they had a choice, so they accepted the negative programming. Most of the world has been negatively programmed. So what we want to do in this class is have you challenge a lot of your belief systems and stop and ask, what do you really believe and is it good for you? Now later on, when we get into dowsing, we're going to go through a way to use our dowsing to find out those belief systems. But right now, I'd like to just stop and think for a while. What all were you taught as a child, in school, at church, at home, or with whoever you're associated with? What things were you taught that has not served you very well in life? Now, logically, you're smart enough to know this now. And you know it wasn't true. And you know it's not good for you. But it became a part of the subconscious mind. And it's still working, no matter what your IQ is and how much better you know. Unless we do something about it, it's still going to work. And it's going to work against us. So what do? Well, one of the first things we do is start listening to ourselves think and listening to ourselves talk and listening to our friends talk. I can usually listen to a person a few minutes when they call me on the phone, and I can tell why they have the problems in most cases because of the way they talk. In healing work, those of you who happen to be in any healing profession, this is what I have observed. That if a person comes to me and says, on such and such a date, I went into the hospital, stayed 2 months, 9 days, and 3 hours, and gives me all kind of medical terms, and then they'll move the time forward, and on such and such a date, I went in again and stayed a month, 9 days, and 6 hours, and again all kind of medical terms. I usually stop them right there and say, I can't help you. Why? Because they're getting too much drama out of it, and they enjoy the drama. If a person comes up to me and says, my back hurts, I believe you can fix it. Yeah, I probably can. But the more detail and the more drama a person puts into their misery, the more they're soaking it up, the more that they seem to be getting out of it, the more that is something what they would consider a benefit, even though consciously they might not do it. But subconsciously they really do that. And what happens, these people are the hardest I have found to work on, because they're just putting all their energy into the disease or the ailment, and they are not putting any energy into getting well. Now, it is said that King Solomon said something like this: as a person thinks in their heart, so they are. Well, if Solomon didn't say that, he should have. Another way is something, saying it is the way Einstein said it, that energy follows thought. And the way I say it is that everything is composed of energy, and wherever we put our thoughts, we put our energy. Therefore, we create what we think about, whether it's good or bad. Now, please understand this. Your subconscious mind will not make a determination as to whether your thoughts are good for you or bad for you. The subconscious mind will simply act upon it.
If you would tell them, and I don't remember how many years ago it's been, about 4 years ago.
At least 4.
And tell them what the condition of your knee was and about where you thought it came from and about what happened afterwards.
Well, I've had arthroscopic surgery and I've had problems all my life. But it's the right knee, and most people in my family, from great-greats on up, have problems with their right knee. So Raymond has already fixed it by now, but before I got to this point, he had fixed it already. 30 seconds it was done. And it was really bothering me. I was the person that went up the steps on one foot, you know, dragging the right one behind. And in less than 30 seconds, he found a family curse.
4 family curses.
Yeah, he had to go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went back in time and removed it from, you know, the ancestors and everything. The next morning when I got out of bed, I almost fell because the whole leg had changed positions. And that position change lasted for 3 weeks. and then I guess the muscle tone and everything being out of whack. But hey, I can go up steps normally. I could step up on that stool now. Couldn't have done it before.
And you had to buy a new pair of shoes because you're wearing the others out on the side. You had to get new shoes.
Had to get new shoes. You know, the whole thing changed.
Yeah.
And 4 years later, the knee works.
Okay, thank you. I want to introduce my friend Benny, who took one class from me. Come on up, Benny. He took one class from me, and this is what he did. So come on over, Benny, have a seat here on the stump, and just tell us what the case was and what you did about it.
Well, I was informed, I don't know this person to this day. I was informed that there was a boy in the hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live, who had added an appendectomy about 4 months ago. Appendectomy went fine. They found him 3 weeks later on the floor at home, passed out. Took him to the hospital. He had to be put on life support. I was told this on Saturday.
Now, how long have you been on life support, Benny?
Almost 3 months.
3 months, okay.
They were going to unplug him on Monday from life support. I was told Saturday. I went through and checked like Raymond had taught me.
Let me give you this microphone, make sure everybody can hear you here.
I went through and checked just like Raymond had taught me. He had 3 demons. I cleared the demons, asked him to be given proper treatment and taken to the other side. He was released from the hospital on Tuesday. And he's fine to this day. Boy's 21 years old. So it can be done, I promise you. And all you have to do is ask. That's the beauty of it all. And that's really all it takes.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
If you want to learn more about Raymond, Grace, and Dowsing, you got to go to this workshop. It's in Austin. Again, if you want to call them, it's 512-794-1000. 512-794-1000 to take the workshop, and they'll give you directions, and the workshop information is on his website. So we're going to go to break. And when we get back, we're going to wrap it up with more stuff that Bruce has got to tell us about.
I'm going to teach you how to wash your hands.
He's going to teach us how to wash our hands, which I've always wondered about how to do that.
And then McKelvey's going to take us out with exotic bird calls from around the world.
Oh, boy.
Back
We'll be
after
right
this
back.
with more of Nature Approved.
You want your home to feel just right. Trane takes care of that, keeping you warm in the winter and cool when it's hot. Year in, year out, using up to 60% less energy. Because with a Trane home, everything is just right.
When you want the best, call D&D Mechanical for your heating and air conditioning service.
It's hard to stop a train.
The Upper Guadalupe River Authority is your local organization in Kerr County devoted to protecting the Hill Country surface water. UGRA tracks changes in health in our river and creeks and responds to concerns about water quality.
The Upper Guadalupe River Authority also operates an environmental laboratory for all your water testing needs. UGRA is Kerr County's surface water resource.
For more information about other UGRA programs, visit us on the web at www.ugra.org. Let's keep our river clean.
Howdy, my name's Kevin Solbrig with Solbrig Hearing Center. Here at Solbrig Hearing Center, we have hearing instruments for almost any hearing loss and any lifestyle. We have hearing instruments for the young, And
Watch it, Buster.
well, let's try this again. We have hearing instruments for the young and for the even younger at heart. So if you're having difficulty hearing and understanding speech or don't always understand words clearly, give me a call. 895-5900 is the number.
For advanced fiber optics, data, phone, and internet in the Hill Country, call the first name for Hill Country Technology. Hill Country. It's our first name.
One. Hi, folks. Welcome back to the last moments of Nature Approved.
Okay, and
but you want to say something. Kim wanted to bring up something.
Well, you have a surprise,
right.
and you've been teasing the whole show about, Kim, during the next break, I'm going to tell you the surprise. What's the surprise?
Is I have a guy putting us on YouTube for free.
Ooh!
So I'll let you know. He's going to have it on. He's going to start archiving it for us, and he's going to cut it up. So because YouTube, you can only do so many segments.
Okay, cut me out of all of them. So.
No, we're going to do that. So you're going to be able to pick us up on YouTube pretty quickly.
Cool.
I'll find out exactly what name he's going to use on YouTube. His name's Jason George.
Hopefully KVHC TV Nature
Well, if we
Approved.
can. I mean, I guess you can. You can use whatever you want on YouTube, right? I'll tell him that. So anyway, he still can't spell my name.
I know.
Anyway.
It's never mind.
It doesn't. Just call me anything.
Brian?
Call me for dinner. Okay.
Could we get his name spelled right, please?
No, we don't care. The people will find me then, and I have to pay my fines.
Deuley.
All right, this is not as silly as it sounds, folks. The last 2 weeks we've been talking about triclosan and how to be healthy and how to really be sanitary at your home, right? So I went to look it up. Here's some questions. Hot water is better than cold water for effective hand washing. Yes or no?
Well, what I was taught is hot water.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay.
Which I was amazed. I was taught hot water. I always thought the hotter the better I was, okay? No. Scientists found that various temperatures had, quote unquote, no effect on transient or residual bacterial reduction. As a matter of fact, not only does hot water have no benefit, but increases the irritant capacity of the soaps and may cause dermatitis in people.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait. First, you got to remember how much water you waste getting the water hot in a number of houses. So quit that.
Okay.
Okay, number one. Now, hand sanitizers kill germs more effectively than soap. I would have said I was taught that that's true, right?
Well, I didn't grow up with hand sanitizers, but now, yes, that's what they're saying.
Using alcohol-based hand hygiene products in general is not more effective than washing your hands with plain soap and water.
You know what I heard, and I don't know who told me this, but you know when their surgeons are scrubbing up?
Right.
It's something about this abrasion.
Yeah, they do very exactly.
That's what.
Right. They make you scrub hard.
Yeah, there's something
they used
about
to make us
this.
use betadine and things, which are antibiotics, and they're even getting away from that to some degree.
But there's something about doing this that cleans the hands better. I don't know what they...
Frequent hand washing or use of hand sanitizers promotes healthy skin. Again, that sounds so logical, right? In studies, in fact, contact dermatitis develops more often from frequent and repeated use of hand hygiene products, exposure to chemicals, and especially, this is the killer, regular glove use.
Ooh.
Gloves increases dermatitis and instead of decreases.
Well, that's why they come out with different types. The latex, a lot of people are allergic to the latex, and they get the skin irritation from that.
And finally, and we've been through this so many times, soap with triclosan, or triclosan, whatever you want to say it, is an effective antimicrobial for hand washing. And that is indeed what's in almost all the antimicrobials now, or the soaps. A recent study compared an antibacterial soap containing triclosan with non-bacterial antibacterial soaps. The results show that antibacterial soap did not provide any additional benefit. In addition, concerns have been raised about the use of triclosan because of potential development of bacterial resistance, MRSAs, and other things.
Yeah.
And not added here, we know that it is extremely persistent in the environment.
Yeah.
It's bad on our frogs, if we did frogs. So, in essence, folks, good soap and water and scrub thoroughly is as good as you can get.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to do it, and we talked about this last week, but I'll bring it up because I'm going to bring it up a lot. Vinegar, or vinegar and baking
don't use them together.
hydrogen peroxide, one after the other in any order, is a greater antibacterial than any of this stuff that we've talked about, and harmless to you and harmless to the environment.
Okay.
So
good to know. Have we got time? 3 minutes. So let's get some David's expertise.
All right, Dave's back on stage.
Yep.
Dave, I'd like you to get up and show us exactly how storks strut. No. Yeah. Let me tell you 1 minute story about David, then we'll do some sounds for you. I'm done from my computer.
Okay.
Years ago, not when I first met him, but after I knew him, he used to be with the San Antonio Zoo.
That's right.
And I took some, I think women I wanted to impress or something, I don't know why.
Generally, we worked at.
Yeah, but David was with us.
But he insisted only on weekends.
Yeah, we went by the whooping cranes, I think it was, and David may correct me. And he started, and I'm going to let him do the noise and tell you. I'm going to tell you, folks, these guys were dancing. And the guys,
when David was bird calling?
When David was bird calling, they danced a while, and then the guy tried to beat up the girl for a while, and he had them so, I don't know if the word's frustrated or
agitated.
Maladroit.
Yeah, but he was just talking to him through the fence. Now tell him, do this thing. This is
whooping crane?
When they're listening to you tear up their territory, they start going.
There it is, yes.
And then he goes.
And when he would do this, they would start prancing and bobbing their heads up and down and just acting like they were crazy. Yeah, and they jump up in the air at each other and everything. And I forget who I had with me, but it was an impressive time. Another time I was with David, he did a owl prowl.
I love those things.
And he can call owls down to his hat.
Oh my God.
They came down and tried to attack you.
Barred owls.
Barred owls. Yeah, tell him how you did.
And barn owls are so shy.
Not when he's doing it. And they would come and swoop us. They were trying to find this crazy
But
owl.
you know, it's okay when they do it, but when the great horned owls come and chase you away,
listen to
they
this.
don't do that before they fly.
They just show up.
And the other one's watching something like that, and all of a sudden you go, whang, and there's a head rolls off your head, and that's
And
because you have
a great horned owl is a big bird.
Okay, I got 1 minute. Let's get a few more in.
1 minute. All right, here's the other one that he can call that is really like, there you go. What is this?
Cricket?
No, he can do another owl, though. It's very good. And the owl's name is Deceiving.
Right.
This is the sound of a screech owl.
Takes me a minute.
Yeah, he's got to get it.
Got to warm up.
Well, it's hard. He's got to get it right in the mic because they're not knowing. There it is.
Yeah, I'm not good.
But why are they called screech owls? Do the other sound. And we're
when
done.
you cause them to protect their facilities,
they do.
They don't. They go. See, that little guy is
The screech owl.
Oh.
This is that same little bird. Folks, welcome. You can keep doing that. Welcome to Nature Approved. Come and see us each Saturday morning here. And Kim, thanks. David McKelvey, thanks for coming in.
Betcha.
We'll be back next week, same time, same station, with Nature Approved. Bye, y'all.
So long.
Hasta luego.
What?